The complete guide to performing the Astra Malorum Easter egg solo, round by round, without any Gobblegums. This guide is coming out well after the patch, which nerfed the LGM1 Frenzied Guard strat, and will be presented as such. Let's jump right in. For your loadout, bring the Jaeger 45 pistols, and add attachments to the M34 Nova line. The Jaeger strat is by far the best if you aren't using Gobblegums, and you don't have any teammates to pull aggro during the boss fight. You will need to have, at minimum, the Vital Ace barrel from prestiging the weapon, then use your permanent unlock on the Akimbo stock attachment. To get around the field being locked when viewing from zombies, start a multiplayer private match to be able to access the menu.
Yes!
For the rest of the loadout, we're going to start with Dark Flare and swap to Aether Shroud for the boss fight. Bring along stim shots and your lethal of choice. Non-negotiable augments are Equivalent Exchange, Environmentalist, Blast Through, and not Mask of Salvation. Strongly recommended augments include Slow Death, Dead Break, Extra Charge, and Extension. Here we go. At the start of the game, run up the hill, claim the Quick Revive Loose Change, then take out your dedicated melee weapon. Critical melee kills are worth 150 points as opposed to the 110 from a headshot elim, so use the knife normal attack for the first 2 rounds to farm. As round 3 starts, buy into the Luminarium, claim the Juggernog Loose Change, then search around for a zombie corpse with a harmonic component next to it. There are 3 possible spawns, either in the trap room, in front of the brain, or down the hall from the brain. Go back through spawn to now buy into the museum. Immediately turn left and break open this case, grabbing the bone saw inside. Cross the room, then perform a wall bounce to grab the record just above. Claim the Speed Cola Loose Change, then interact with the gramophone in the middle of the room. The record will be placed and begin to play, starting a side Easter egg. For this record, farm souls by getting melee kills. Farm all of round 3 here with heavy, dedicated melee attacks, but leave the last zombie alive. As the record times out, head back to the Luminarium and use your new funds to buy the M34 Nova line off the wall. When you return to the museum, 250 points of salvage and a random perk will be available for you to claim. After this, flip the round to 4. You can perform the record Easter egg every round, however the random perk will only drop once after hitting the record's kill requirement. This record's kill requirement appears to be 5. Once again, use heavy melee attacks to farm souls for the record. After farming another 250 salvage, leave the last zombie in the round, and buy the door to Scholar's Way, continuing on to Machina Astralis. A second harmonic component is here, either next to the armory, on the other side of the main floor next to an input box, or on the second floor above the doorway to Archive. Buy through the double doors to get to the Archive, claim the Stamina Up Loose Change, continue outside to claim the Mule Kick Loose Change, then enter the observatory in the back. Interact with the screen to try and turn on the machine, then hold interact on the organ to place the 2 harmonic components we found earlier, then interact with the monitor again to begin the harmonic Oculus summoning ritual. You'll be tasked with defending the organ for 45 seconds while the Pack-a-Punch machine arrives. Your dedicated melee won't be strong enough to one-shot enemies on this round, so use the Nova line to farm salvage as best you can. On completion, the OG Pack-a-Punch machine will materialize. Also on completion, the persistent map boss Oscar will spawn in. Using the TAC map, look for the boss icon, then select it to ping Oscar. This will keep you aware of his location as you perform other tasks around the map. First for the Easter egg is acquiring the LGM1 Wonder Weapon. This requires the use of 3 different traps on Oscar in any order, but I have a recommended order to keep your round count low. We'll start by prepping the Sunbeam Trap in the observatory. Around the room are many valve panels, one of which will be leaking steam. Shoot it to resolve the steam. It will then jump to a new valve. Listen for the noise, then locate and shoot this new one. There are 5 valves to shoot in total. There are 2 possible locations in the lower bowl, 2 in the scaffolding up above, 1 in the portal room, and 5 on the walls and pillars in the main observatory. After shooting 5 different valves, the trap will become available to use. If you ever take too long and fail, the challenge will reset after just a few seconds. Interact with the monitor to look through the telescope. Look around first for Mars. Place the cursor atop the red planet and jot down its coordinates, in my case, 4831. Next, locate the sun, leaving the cursor just to the side of it so as not to activate the trap just yet. back out of the telescope, and we'll be back in a few rounds. First is the rocket trap. With the 500 salvage we collected from the record side Easter egg, locate an arsenal and add the Cryo Freeze ammo mod to the M34 Nova line. With the Cryo Freeze mod, shoot Aether Crystals around the map, picking up the absolute 0 fragments they drop. You will be able to claim 3 at a time. Once you have claimed all 3, locate Oscar and kite him over to the museum. Once Oscar's in the museum and near the rocket, interact with this button to start a countdown. This will consume your 3 fragments to activate the trap. Guide Oscar behind the rocket as the countdown completes to blow him up, and that's our first trap kill done. There's a chance this trap also breaks a UFO that's attached to Oscar, and if so, you've got a head start on the Luminarium Trap. If you fail to eliminate Oscar, you will have to find 3 more absolute 0 fragments from Aether Crystals in order to try again once he respawns. Oscar will take the next round off, coming back in the one after. In the meantime, use round 5 to farm towards 5,000 points. When the round flips to 6, locate Oscar and grab his attention to bring him to the observatory. Bring him as close as you can to the center, then interact with the monitor and move the cursor over the sun to activate the trap, which will kick you off of the machine automatically. It will take a second to spin up, but once it does, place the laser between yourself and Oscar, kiting him to walk into the trap. If he does, he will blow up, and that's a second trap kill done. You're now safe to flip your round. During our second Oscar intermission, we will continue to farm. Pack-a-punch the M34 Nova line if you haven't already. TED tasks are going to be super helpful as well to accelerate your game, so start them whenever available to claim free perks and weapon upgrades. A second record Easter egg is available in Machina Australis. Grab the record from a crate on the second level on the far east side of the map. Pull up the horde behind you and drag them into the archive. Place the record to begin the challenge, then throw down a grenade. This record requires equipment kills to farm souls. On completion, various equipment pieces and a mystery perk will drop from the gramophone. Last is the Luminarium Trap. Before completing this trap, make sure you have the Mule Kick perk equipped, which I forgot. This one requires 3 parts to activate. First are the wires. Look around the exterior portions of the map for a lamppost that is flashing. This flashing begins after completing the Pack-a-Punch quest. Shoot it a few times to pop aberrant wires out of the lamp, then pick them up. Next is the car battery. Pack-a-punch your weapon, then return to the crash site. Shoot the hood of Tessie, but only when standing right in front of her to pop out the car battery. This will cause a small horde to spawn in. Deal with them before continuing to keep your zombie count low. For the final part, we'll need Oscar back. Take out one of his shield UFOs to drop it as a damaged drone part. With all 3 in your possession, enter the Luminarium. Interact with the switch to place all 3 parts, then while you wait for Oscar to catch up, look on the second level for a page with a planet and direction on it. Write this down, we'll need it for later. Once Oscar's inside the room, interact again to begin the trap challenge. You'll need to keep Oscar inside the room the entire time, gradually overloading his battery until he explodes. This is very easy to do with a single zombie remaining in your round, as you can just do laps across the seats and down in front to keep Oscar stuck in the center, with the trap blocking any attack of his. Once the bar fills, Oscar will explode, and if this was your 3rd Oscar trap kill, you'll be rewarded with the LGM-1. Go buy Mule Kick if you still need it, then return to claim the Little Green Menace. Now that we've acquired the Wonder Weapon, our next task is to escape to Mars. This will require Oscar to respawn, so in the meantime, we'll complete the 3rd and final gramophone side Easter egg. At the Luminarium, grab the record off the bookshelf in the southeast corner, and make sure you have your field upgrade fully charged. Pull up the horde, kite them north, then place the record on the gramophone, and activate your field upgrade to farm souls. Once the record times out, points and a mystery perk will drop from the gramophone. Continue farming, completing TED tasks, and buying essential perks like Quick Revive. We don't need to Pack-a-Punch the Nova line past tier 1, so save your money. We also don't yet want to Pack-a-Punch our Jaeger pistols in case an Aether Crystal is dropped from a TED task. Once Oscar's back on the map, ping him in the TAC map and follow him around. Whenever Oscar patrols, he recounts his past eliminations. You'll have to stay in his area undetected until you hear Elimination 20 on Dr. Thurston. After some dialogue, Thurston will shout out a 3-planet code. The planets correlate to numbers in order of their position from the sun. In my game, I got Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Return to the observatory and interact with the machine towards the front. Input your planets as these numbers, in my case 4, 5, 6. On success, the numbers will light green, and a platform next to the Pack-a-Punch station will lower. Hop up and interact with the body to claim the cryo chamber key. You can attempt the code 3 times per round. With the key in hand, head to Machina Australis, then into the side room with the green cryo chamber. Interact to use the key to open the chamber, then hold interact to use the bone saw we got from the museum to cut open the individual's head, acquiring Dr. Thurston's brain. This interaction will cause Oscar to spawn into the room. Turn around and bring the brain to the Luminarium. Interact with the canister to place the brain and begin a brief defense segment. It's important to get away from Oscar as fast as possible so he loses track of you and doesn't join for the defense. Use your equipment and field upgrade to defend the brain. Prioritize zombies attacking the brain specifically, as they are the ones that matter most. Successfully defending the brain for 60 seconds will result in Dr. Thurston's quasi-revive into the canister. Interact to pick up the canister, then carry it across the Starwalk and into Machina Australis. At this point, you can swap your field upgrade to Aether Shroud. Once you arrive at Machina Australis, place Dr. Thurston at the perfusion machine. Hold interact to power it on. Turn around and up on the main level, a box will have opened. Interact and input the Mars coordinates we grabbed earlier. This will target the portal to Mars. In my game, this was 4831. At the perfusion machine is a monitor displaying Dr. Thurston's reading list. Write down the books that are showcased on this list. I enjoy using the Steam overlay and the notes feature, abbreviating books as 2 letters. With your complete reading list, enter the archive. Around the room are 3 statues. Next to each statue is a wall containing 3 interactable books. Your task is to turn each statue the number of times corresponding with how many of its books appear in the reading list. Interacting with the books and not the statues can be a little difficult, so here's a list to simplify things. The Machina Australis wall contains the books The Musica Universalis, The Black Veil, and The Moon Directive. The observatory side wall contains the books Ashen Bone, Echoes of Andromeda, and The Unknowable Void. The gramophone wall contains the books Pyramids of Cydonia, Silence at Singularity, and the Witchlight Codex. With the list for my game, that means 1 turn of the Machina Australis statue, 2 turns of the observatory statue, and 2 turns of the gramophone statue. If correct, the room will shake immediately, revealing a trapdoor above the ladder. Climb it to claim the planet Neptune. If you fail this step by either being too slow or incorrect, you'll have to flip the round to try again. With Neptune in your possession, head directly above the archive door to place Neptune on the Orrery. This will spin the planets, requiring you to realign 3 of them. The alignment information is found across the map on pages, displaying a planet and a direction. Using the information we picked up earlier at the Luminarium, shoot that planet, in my case Mars, from the side to move it into position, in my case southeast. On the second level, near where we grabbed the record previously, check the page on the desk. In my case Neptune needs to move to northwest. The third and final page is in the archive on the central table. In my case, Saturn needs to move to southwest. The 3 planets will always be Mars, Saturn, and Neptune, and the direction will be any of the 4 ordinal directions. Once you have all 3 planets aligned and the Mars coordinates submitted, interact with the perfusion machine to reboot the portal. You will have 2 minutes to defend the portal from Oscar's UFOs. If a UFO makes it to the portal, the progress will decrease slightly. The UFOs themselves have very little health and break in just a shot. Rotate around the room, changing height as you need, to continue staying ahead of Oscar and the Horde. After defending the portal for 80 seconds without interruption, the process will complete. All enemies will wipe, and you'll be sucked in and teleported. Welcome to Mars. Hop down onto the platform as Thurston spawns in after you. Pick him up and plug him into the Mars perfusion machine up above. Doing so will return gravity to normal for a short time. After activating the machine and at the start of every subsequent round, a bird will spawn out in the distance. Using this left side window, tap away at the rear right coil. When that lights up, swap to the rear left, and then the front right, then the front left. After all 4 have been hit, turn around and shoot the coil above the portal. Doing so will bring the bird into play. Handle the horde around you, but don't flip your round. Shooting the coil subsequent times will ensure the bird stays in the map and doesn't flee. With the bird now in play, you must jump into it and interact to pick it up. This can be difficult when normal gravity is enabled, so waiting for low grav is just fine. Once claimed, place it at the machine in the far right corner. Next, you must play a song for the bird using the pillars in the map. Take out the LGM and shoot the top of the 5 pillars in play. This will enable them. We will need to input a code found back on the main map. Return to Astra Malorum and the observatory. Interact with this panel on the right side of the organ to show symbols. Feel free to pause and write down the symbols as you see them. There are 5 symbols that will show, however, one of them will be replaced with static. You must write down the order and determine which symbol to fill in the blank. In my game, the symbols are TP, circle, plus, diamond, and blank, which turns into X. It is possible for the first symbol you receive to be the blank, which can be confusing, but it is possible. The first symbol will pop immediately after interaction, so if it's still showing static, it's the blank symbol. Return to Mars and interact with the pillars in symbol order. Once again, for me that is TP, circle, plus, diamond, and X. At this point, the boss fight is ready to begin. However, we've got a long way to go to prepare. To prepare for the boss fight, stay on the main map to complete TED tasks. Don't use or upgrade the Jaeger 45s for as long as you can to hold out for crystals and aether tools. You'll definitely want tier 3 armor, and the required perk set is at least Quick Revive, Juggernog, Speed Cola, Mule Kick, Double Tap, PhD, Stamina Up, Deadshot Daiquiri, and Vulture Aid. I know it's a lot, but you don't want to chance it with this boss. Pack-a-punch the LGM once to bump it up to a serviceable sidearm. You will also want your Jaeger pistols tier 3 packed, legendary, with Shatter Blast equipped. For reference, it took me 40 minutes to make the boss fight available, but another 20 to finish farming. In this game, I am only using the barrel and akimbo attachments on the pistols, so yours can have more ammo and accuracy should you choose to level them further. Once you're all set, take the portal to return to Mars and interact with the perfusion machine to summon Caltheris. Welcome to the boss fight. You're now fighting Astra Malorum, or rather the asteroid it sits on. This is a 4-phase boss fight, with the most stressful parts being, I think, the end of Phase 1 and Phase 4 as a whole. Let's dive in. Phase 1 is a multi-part soul collection challenge, where I recommend using the LGM as the primary. Killing zombies anywhere in the arena will farm souls, depositing them at one of 2 towers on the sides of the map. During part 1, the soul tower is on the right. This will gradually fill as you get kills, while Caltheris chases you with the Sunbeam Trap. Run around in circles to kite both the horde and the beam. Once your screen flashes white, the tower is filled. Make sure the beam isn't currently following you, then interact with the perfusion machine to launch the charge, dealing a third of Caltheris' health as damage. Part 2 will begin with Caltheris launching fireballs into the map. If you have the Environmentalist Augment equipped, you can slide through the lava without taking damage. Continue to loop and dodge as you fill the second tower. Once your screen flashes white, interact with the perfusion machine once again to deal another chunk of damage. Part 3 is once again slightly different. Toxic zombies will begin to spawn into the arena, and this time you're now filling both towers. Start by playing down low and farming as best you can. After a minute or so, Caltheris will flood the arena with toxic gas, which will halve your health should you enter it. Grenades are a great help in this tight of a play space. Once your screen flashes white, you're free to interact at the machine once again, completing Caltheris' first phase. Pick up any armor you can find during this short intermission. Phase 2 is the introduction of Caltheris, the physical boss. She will slowly walk up on you, throw small rocks, and smack you around a bit. The Jaeger 45s are the most effective weapon on her, however, they are much more effective when used later on. So for now, swap between the pistols and the LGM to whittle her down with the goal of breaking her armor. Once broken, the exposed weak point takes massive damage from our pistols. Make sure you're close enough to effectively hit the weak point, as you don't want to be wasting ammo. A rebuy for these pistols is only 5,000 points, and Vulture Aid will also help with ammo replenishment. Continue to focus the breakpoint, Then when Caltheris falls, use the intermission to swap back to the LGM, recover any ammo and armor plates, and reestablish your train in the map. Phase 3 brings Caltheris Ascendant. She's a little bigger, a little louder, and she hurts just a bit more. The attack pattern is pretty much identical, it's just more overall. Listen out for her attacks as she advertises them quite clearly. The LGM is just alright for this phase, especially at only pack 1, so swap between all of your weapons as you see fit. You can also interrupt Caltheris' rock attack by doing significant damage to the upper body area while the rock is held. Continue to loop and focus on effective Jaeger 45 shots. Again, this is a much smaller mag than every other weapon, so the penalty for a miss is huge. Once she falls, once again, re-establish yourself with the Horde. Phase 4 delivers Caltheris the Needle. This is the bad one. As the phase begins, a reward will be available on a pedestal in front of the perfusion machine if you previously completed the Ashes of the Damned main quest. This is Vaetharion's Blessing, a buff which will reward you with full armor plates, equipment, and infinite ammo reserves for the duration. For this phase, I recommend just throwing everything you have into Caltheris the entire time. You can loop for a little bit, but eventually she will just catch up to you. This phase is the reason why we use the Jaeger 45s and take the equivalent exchange quick revive augment. You will inevitably get wombo comboed into a corner, but with equivalent exchange, you can self-revive with full perks 3 times just by doing damage. Once the weakness is exposed, it's go time. This is all that matters. Even if you get cheesed, focus down the weak point and watch the health bar fall. After you burn all of your free revives, sit in the real down state for as long as you need to complete the fight. Caltheris will teleport into the center and fade out, which means you've just completed. Wait, they don't give achievements out for DLC anymore. Awesome. And that's Astra Malorum. Happy to get back into the swing of things. Look out for a YouTube community post about a 10K AMA video. We'll see if I have anything else lined up. If you liked the video, like the video. If you want to see more Zombies Easter egg guides, subscribe down below. And as always, I've been Noodles. You've been awesome. I'll see you next time.